Okay, I think I'm live, finally. It's taken me forever to get with you guys, but I am live. Hello, hello, hello. So if you're on Instagram, you're not going to be able to see the title of my live, but it's called Reclaiming the Divine. And I'm talking about sacred symbols that have been stolen and used for dark purposes. And I'm doing some clearing up, some facts. Because what I'm seeing happening, which I find it's beginning to be alarming to me, because I'm realizing how few people know anything about the ancient world or ancient symbols or like where spirituality even came from. Like, I respect the fact that a lot of people that are on the front end of the movement for this great awakening are really strongly faith-based, and a lot of them are Christian. And I've said before in many videos, your faith is young. Christianity is a young faith. It is not an ancient faith. It is not one of the predominant divine lineages that we were given. It is a young faith. And your language for understanding what's happening is young, and your models for understanding what's happening is young. There is much older, very divine practices that existed long before you had language for your current faith. And what's happening, unfortunately, is that a lot of you guys are getting introduced to these symbols from dark sources. And so you are automatically thinking that these certain symbols are dark when they aren't. They weren't. They were taken, they were corrupted, and they were inverted, which I'm going to show you what inversion looks like, okay? So for those of you who don't know anything about magic, who don't know anything about sacred geometry, and don't know anything about that, inversion is a very common practice of taking a light magic symbol or principle, which, by the way, symbols like mantras have power. They communicate into the subconscious mind. They don't require words, okay? So that's why you can chant a mantra knowing what the mantra is saying, and you can feel the effect of the mantra even if you don't speak Sanskrit, because it goes beyond cognitive understanding. It's like light language. The same thing happens. Symbols work the same way. They have power. They carry power. And that's why they're used in rituals and have been used in rituals forever. The cross is a symbol. You, as a Christian follower, use a cross to symbolize something, and that goes beyond words and language. It is a common symbol that you guys use to communicate to each other that you are a person of a certain faith, okay? So this has been done forever. Runes. Look at runes. The use of runes was a bunch of symbols carved into stones, and people would use them and cast them and read them, okay? Again, tarot is symbol. They're just symbols. They're images that are that strike something in the mind, communicate a message. It actually has nothing to do with good or bad. Saying that tarot is bad is like saying a glass of water is bad because somebody threw water in your face once. The glass of water is bad. It's just a glass of water. The fact that it was used to throw water in your face is a negative use of a glass of water. If you drink the same water, it hydrates you. Big difference, okay? You guys understanding what I'm putting down? Symbols, ancient symbols, are about intention and use. And when the dark powers that be took a hold of certain ancient symbols, they did something called inversion. And what inversion does is it takes something that's powerful and light and makes it dark. It's a mock of the original symbol. It's making fun of, literally, the original symbol and turning it into something else, okay? So on the board behind me, I have some that I need to break down for y'all, because when this movement picks up more speed, as it will, and these symbols become public knowledge, you have to understand what you're seeing, and you have to be able to use discernment and intuition to understand what you're seeing. Yes, Hannah, it's not the thing itself, it's the intention. And let me explain one more thing. Everything has duality. You live in a dual plane. You have the dark and the light. You have both. And with spirituality, it's the same thing. There is dark and there is light, and there are those people that use things for good and people that use things for bad. And for those of you who are like, I don't want to magic and I don't want to talk about paganism and I don't want to talk about witches or whatever, understand that one of the primary tenets of people who are pagan and practice magic is to do no harm. That is the primary tenet. We cannot, none of us ought to, that breaks a natural law, okay? So these people who are doing harm are not people of light. They are people of dark. And they are using symbols that they know have power and inverting them and mocking us. And that's what's happening. And there's a big difference. And so I really feel called to make this video to educate us, because a lot of y'all don't know this, and y'all need to, okay? There's plenty of places you can do research. I mean, again, I've been teaching metaphysics for literally over a decade, and there are so many rabbit holes that you can go down, but I'm just going to break down 3 commonly misunderstood symbols so that y'all can begin to see the inversion practice and what I'm talking about. I'm also going to talk about a little bit when I get to one of the symbols or 2 of the symbols, because I don't want my live stream to be shut down, and I also don't want weird people to be stalking me. And if you notice that on YouTube's, I'm not talking about certain things like Hollywood and the weird stuff that they do, there's a reason I'm not talking about that, because those are the people that get shut down the fastest, and I don't want to lose my platforms, and I also don't want people to be like sending me weird ass messages. So if you check the links on the bottom of my YouTube videos, I'll always put links to things that are happening in that world. I'm not going to directly about that because y'all know they're watching. So let me break down these symbols for you real quick, okay? Here we go. Pentacle, okay? First of all, I want you to notice the difference between this symbol and this symbol. Can you notice the difference? Please drop me a comment if you can see the difference between the 2. For those of you who aren't paying attention, you're going to be like, it's the same. It's not the same. They're different. Can you tell the difference between these 2 things? Okay? This is the original symbol. This is the inverted symbol. See, it's literally upside down. It is the upside version of this. So this has been associated with satanic cults and practices and rituals. And this is actually about the elements. And it's about connected, this ring around them connects all the elements, water, earth, fire, spirit, okay? And it's one of the oldest symbols of unity. It's one of the oldest symbols of connectedness, okay? So when you convert a symbol of unity, and furthermore, what was so important is because it didn't make us separate from the elements. It taught us that we are not separate from the world around us, that we are connected, we are united by this field, and that we are with one thing, okay? This is really, really important that you guys understand this original symbol. It was such a beautiful, sacred symbol, okay? Then you have this of this, which is a mockery. It's called an inversion. Again, it's a very common, typical dark arts practice. They invert goodness into harm. And this, like those ancient things that they, like, I don't know. I don't even know their names. That's how, like, I don't even know their names of the dark lords that they praise, because it's such a nonsense to me. Like, it's not. But you can see, these are not the same. These are not the same. I have a tattoo of my arm. It is not this. It is this. Okay? There's a difference. And people are going to look at this and think it's this automatically, and they're not going to understand. And they're going to think that people who practice Wicca or who are pagans are all evil. And that's completely untrue. And I'm just really trying to make y'all see right now. There's a difference. This is a classic example of inversion. Okay? Example number 2. This is the swirl associated with the Fibonacci sequence, associated with the vibration that this planet exists in. The planet makes it a frequency. There's this beautiful symmetry in the swirl. The swirl is symmetrical, it's perfect, it's the shape of the galaxy, Then you have this motherfucking thing right here, which y'all know is a PEDO symbol because the FBI came out with it and straight told what this was and called everybody out, okay? Notice the lack of symmetry, okay? This is what those symbols look like. They do not have symmetry. It interrupts the natural symmetry of this sequence, of the swirl sequence. Can you see the difference? This is perfectly and symmetrical. This is that. It interrupts the natural symmetry. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Important distinction. Important. Okay? This is how magic is twisted. Yes, this is about sacred geometry. And this is about sacred geometry in dark ways. And I'm showing you the difference so you can become discerning when all of this people start telling you, oh, all these symbols are dark. No, they are not. Okay? Bottom one. The third eye, the all-seeing eye, is about your pineal gland. It's about your third eye. Okay? It's about your ability to see on the veil that you see with your two eyes. Okay? Your two eyes only see this dimension. Your third eye is your intuition. It's how you communicate. It's how you connect with your inner wisdom. Okay? The all-seeing eye has been a symbol forever. Okay? And it's been revered. I have one on my shoulder. Okay? Why? Because such a huge practice of my spirituality is honoring the inner vision and being able to serve from that place. Okay? And the triangle, again, another sacred symbol, sacred geometry. It's also very, aliens love triangles, and they're constantly making shapes of triangles in their dialects and in their crop circle formations. You'll see the circles that are in a triangle circle with triangle shape. Okay? And light coming from this is an alchemical symbol. You'll see this a lot. Okay? Then you have this motherfucking thing right here. Okay? Which is ILMANITI. Okay? I'm not going to say their name because, again, videos be tagged for weird stuff. Okay? They've completely inverted this. And if you notice, it's trapped inside of the triangle. You see here it's surrounded by a circle, and this light is emanating from the circle. In this, it's trapped inside, and the rays are trapped by this like barrier. It's almost limited. It's a limited power. Can you guys see what I'm talking about? Is this making sense? Is that making sense? The difference looks similar, and they do this on purpose. It looks similar, but it's a mockery of the original symbol. Okay? There's so many. This is just throughout, like, I really need to break down for people because they don't understand. There's a ton of them. But that's what they do. Okay? Yeah, this motherfucking thing. Exactly. Like, what is this even? Lord. But I understand there is a big difference. And as we continue in our wake up, we're going to have to start using discernment and intuition and feel our bodies what the difference feels like. Okay, really understand that how you feel is so important. So when you are talking or learning, becoming public knowledge, understand that there's so much you probably don't know, haven't researched, and haven't learned, and the only source of information that you're getting is dark. No, it's not all dark. It didn't start there. It was taken and it was made. Okay? Please understand that. So, bashing on people who aren't Christian, who believe in these, because there's a reason they use them. This is the origin of how we connected, communed with God, source elements around us, with each other. Yeah, so now when you see these symbols, pay attention to what your body feels like. Exactly different. They don't feel the same. You feel very expanded, very beautiful. They generate a certain energy and heavy. And it's up to you to really pay attention to that. Really pay attention to the sensation in your body and to begin to learn. My greatest hope is that we will reclaim these divine symbols and do away with these mockeries, these inversions that have completely stripped these ancient symbols of their beauty and their power. And you know why they did that, right? Because these symbols were very, very powerful in order to break us up with our intuitive knowing, to break us up with our origins, to break us up with the true origin of our. They did that. They used the very things that we used to celebrate against us. And it's going the opposite way, right? Now it's all going public and their world is crumbling and we're reclaiming that. But pay attention, use your discernment, okay? Do some research. Ask me questions. If you feel asking me questions, ask me the questions. I'm happy to answer them. But I just really felt called to do this live video. I see a huge, massive problem on the horizon and nobody is talking about it, and I need to talk about it because a lot of confusion in a very short period of time. Okay, so I'm seeing that a lot of you found this really illuminating and helpful. Yeah, I'm pretty pardon my foul language, but so these people are the worst, and I'm so over their version. All right, guys, have an amazing day.